Ooh, spooky. That'll work. Yo. Crawl back. Another shadow stroll session. First things first. Let me silence my notifications and shit. Okay. So first things first. New single, Angels remix. Be in stores April 23rd. So it's gonna be lit. Very different track. It's myself, Phase One, Tafari Ali, Divine Wind. Very special track. Very powerful. I'm gonna drop some visuals on here in a second. I already put them on my Instagram and X. If you follow me on there, otherwise just subscribe on here. You get to see the first peek at those visuals. Maybe have a full official music video in the works with the brothers. That's gonna be very, very different. It's Angels again, April 23rd. Now, one thing, I think I'm gonna put my light right here. Yeah, that's good. It kind of helps with the ambiance. Makes it a little bit more mysterious. So I try to get my microphone hooked up to this thing, but my cable that I was using to connect it to my phone decided it didn't want to fit no more. So we're just gonna thug it out in this wind. It's very windy on this side of Florida today, all day really. Anyway, onward to the discussion. So this shadow stroll, excuse me, this shadow stroll is titled "You Can Do Anything." You can be anything, actually, is what I titled it. Weird place to park a truck. You can be anything. I don't know if any of y'all have anybody ever watched that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. What's up, David? You ever seen that movie? Everything Everywhere All at Once? Well, nonetheless, I was just watching it again. It's probably like my fourth or fifth time watching it. And it kind of raised some thoughts to mind. Also raised some questions. It's a great movie. I would definitely recommend you check it out. For those who haven't seen it, basically, there's this woman who is kind of just like bored with her life. She runs like a laundromat, and she has some troubles with the IRS, and she has to go up to the tax office and do all this kind of stuff. But she finds herself stumbling into this situation to where she's kind of overlapping between multiple realities, and there's certain parallel universes and different versions of herself that she discovers is bleeding over into her reality. So, very interesting film. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who wants to watch it, but the reason I started this was because just watching this kind of raised this thought in my mind. And it's also something that I've heard and studied elsewhere for years from the likes of Bob Proctor, from the likes of Napoleon Hill, from the likes of Dr. Malachi Z. York, etc. There tends to be this overwhelming consensus from people who see great success in whatever realm that they're facing, whether it's, relationship success or financial or spiritual or whatever the metric is. Every single one of them, they tend to say, basically, you become what you think about. Right? There's a book on that by, I can't remember what his name was, James something. It's called As a Man Thinketh. Very short book. I think it's like 60 pages. It's a good read. And Dr. Malachi York also had a talk on that as well. But that's this underlying principle that you tend to see. What's up, Ada? When it comes to just this concept of reality and being and what you choose to do with your life, right? What you choose to be is, as a man thinketh, so is he. And the same thing can go for, a woman thinking, whoever. The point is, whatever you set your mind to doing or being, you become that. So if you set your mind to failure, you're like, oh, I'm a loser, I keep failing my tests, or my girlfriends keep breaking up with me, or I can't succeed in business, whatever. Sure, if you set your mind to that, then that's what it's going to be, right? Henry Ford, the one who created Ford Motor Company, he was quoted to have said, if a man thinks he will succeed, he will. Or if a man thinks he'll succeed or thinks he'll fail, either way he's correct. Basically, something to that effect. It's not a direct quote, but that was essentially the premise of it. So, how do you make the most of your opportunities? How do you make the most of this mind power, this time that we have, right? Because we maybe only have a certain limited time on this earth, right? You choose in this moment to scroll on YouTube real quick and you pop on this weird black dude with a white Lambs hoodie walking through his neighborhood at night. It's cool. Maybe you pick up something. When you realize that if you set your focus on things and you start generating these ideas, that when you set your mind on a thing, you start generating ideas that show you how to attain that thing. You may not think you can do the thing just yet, but the more you think about it, the more you place yourself in that position in your mind, in your imagination, that, hey, I can do this, I can succeed at this, etc., then the more likely you are to go across ideas or come across ideas or thoughts or opportunities that will bring you closer to that desired objective. What's up, David? I'm Samurai. So, that's kind of what I mean in a general sense. Now, let's say if I want to be a famous rapper, that's what I want to be. Maybe I have some other objective. Maybe I want to reach people and spread a message of positivity or show people ways to think about things that can uplift their spirit, or put out songs that are going to encourage them, through difficult times, things that charge them up, etc., etc. Whatever the main reason is. Let's say I decide I want to be a famous rapper. If I were to close my eyes, and this is something that they kind of practice in this movie, or they had the main character practice quite on the spot, mind you, because it was kind of like became a life or death situation to where she had to do this. But if I were to close my eyes and visualize, or if I were to pick up my pen, sit down with my notepad and write, or any multitude of different ways, grab a note card, write on it, and just clearly with my mind's eye see myself at that desired objective, then what'll happen is, the beauty of the subconscious mind is it doesn't know whether something, the subconscious mind is subjective. It's not objective. It doesn't know whether something is true or not. it's just going to say any idea that you present to it, any idea that gets through to it is. That's what certain scholars of the mind and the science of success and such things like Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, et cetera, lean towards. And that's what their science points towards. You can test it for yourself, whether or not you think that has any veritability, whether you think that has any truth. Don't believe me, just go check it out. Or to Dr. Malachi Z. York. So, as you start to do this, you start to go through these visualization exercises, or you start to go through this process where you're writing it down in very descriptive detail, and you're writing from a perspective of gratitude, of actually having already accomplished that thing, even if you at the present current moment had not accomplished that thing, then suddenly, if you just kind of open yourself to that, and then you just move on and just act as if that is the case, you'll suddenly start having these ideas pop up to how you could actually do it. You'll suddenly start having these opportunities popping into your path that you may have not expected, that can get you a step closer to that desired objective. So there was one day, maybe, I don't know, this might have been 2016, 2017, was one day where maybe even earlier than that, but I might have been sitting in my room by myself and just thinking, man, it would be great to perform on a stage. Man, it would be great to record and release a song that thousands of people can listen to, etc., right? And as I went through these processes to where I visualized these things, and I kind of started developing what they call that burning desire to make it happen, guess what? I start recording more music. I start finding more inventive and ingenuous ways to actually record my music more clearly. I start learning how to engineer. I start learning how to find my voice on different sounds and different types of beats and all these kind of things. I start learning how to produce. I start learning how to distribute my music. I start learning how to build a brand, etc., etc. And it keeps going on all the way until that objective that I was sitting there visualizing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago suddenly is something that is of the past. It's something I've already done. At this point, I've already had. You can believe it or not. You can feel free to subscribe to my channel and take a look through some of my old songs, or take a look on certain streaming platforms or whatever where the numbers are public. I already know I've had tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people already listening to my voice, listening to my music, and being inspired by it, or being charged up by it, or feeling something in it that they can relate to. I know this because I've been told this by these people. So my point is, you can be anything you want to be. Now, yes, certain people who've grown up with me and know me, they might tell you that I shot pretty low with this particular objective, because 15 years old, I was in an astrophysics lab at the fifth best particle physics universities in the US, and I was 15 years old in their lab getting paid to do studies on subatomic particles. You don't have to believe me, but it's what it was. So a lot of my friends, they saw me as a scientist, or they saw me as, oh, he's going to be a doctor, or it saw me, that's a nice hat, bro. Yeah, One Piece is real. You too, man. Yeah, I love seeing the new One Piece fans out here. That's great. I love it. Yeah, so that's a whole nother testament to it. I'll go ahead and talk on that for a little bit. For those of you who haven't watched One Piece, it's all about everything that I'm talking about right now. It's very fortuitous that I walked past that gentleman and he had a One Piece hat that I actually used to have before. That's why I instantly recognized it, because I thought it was mine. But if you're an anime fan, go watch One Piece. And don't just watch one episode. Go watch 2, 3, 4, 500 episodes of it. Come back. Let me know how you feel. If you like hip-hop, subscribe to the channel. Take a listen to some of the most recent tracks. Angels remix featuring Phase 1, Tafari Ali, Divine Wind, and myself is going to be coming shortly. And yeah, that's going to be on the 23rd. Going to be dropping some visuals shortly. And yeah, we'll pick up this talk another time. Now I've arrived at my destination. So I leave as I arrived. In peace. Adu Sashug in our divine language, that means divine love. Wadu.